CFA level 3, and I'm going to discuss the risk management. Risk is one of the most important points when it comes to financial institution and financial management. We will start our discussion from risk management process. Our risk is an unforeseen obstacle which can come and stop you to reach to your objectives. At every step, we have to incorporate risk in our strategies, policies, procedures, in our product. If we want to be risk-free or risk-minimized results and outcomes, then in thinking, in planning, in organizing, pre-designing and designing phases, we have to take care of the risk factors. We have to bring them on each and every level so we can have an effective risk management. We'll start our discussion from risk management process. First of all, management is a continuous process, and it covers planning, designing, implementing, budgeting, evaluating, implementation, post-implementation feedbacks, and the revision to planning processes. We'll start from setting policies and procedure for the risk. This is the responsibility of the management, that they build good and effective systems which blocks the fears and obstacles on each and every steps. The very important thing for institutions is to define the risk tolerance, risk appetite. If you are $1 billion fund, then maybe 100,000 or 1,000 something is not an amount for you, so your risk tolerance and appetite will be higher. So in the stage of risk management, the processing, planning, we have to see what is our risk appetite, ability to absorb risk tolerance. Then every entity is different, every portfolio is different, every fund is different, every institution is different. There are some common risks between us, but there are so many specific risks we are encountering every day. So we should know that what kind of risk we are surrounded by. That's why identifying the risks and classifying them into financial risk, non-financial risk, audit risk, operational risk, compliance risk, IT risk, these kind of things, classifications will be really effective for the entity. Moving forward, we should measure current level of risk, and we should adjust the level of risk with the acceptable risk and industrial norms. Benchmarking in risk is really important and helping. We can adopt any kind of strategy which can minimize the risk. Nowadays we have ERM models, enterprise risk management modules are available. First, in terms of risk awareness, it's a process of developing a risk management system that is transparent, effective, clear. It maintains an accountability, cost efficiency and effectiveness. When it comes to decentralized risk awareness system, that places more responsibility within the units. These are two types of organizational governance strategies, centralization and decentralization. When we focus on decentralization, we give autonomy with power and responsibilities to respective centers. When it comes to the normal situations and centralized policies, then of course the power center of the power rests in the center, and it is in few hands, and the other units will be taking instructions. Placing systems is always the responsibility of senior management. They have to bring effective risk management system which will identify the risk factors appropriately, adequately and effectively. We have to quantify the risk factors. We have to identify how each risk contributes towards overall risk. We have to see systematically how we report the risk and support, and how it supports the allocation of the capital. Monitoring compliance is really very important element that has to be in the risk management process. In terms of financial risk, we have suppose as a human being, as individuals, we have so many risks associated with us. If we are doing job, we may lose a job. This is a job lose risk. We could come out of the home. If we have money, someone will steal our money. It's a risk. We have pounds, we have dollars, we have euros. They will fluctuate. We will have currency gain or losses. We have someone will kill us. We have this risk. There are a lot of risks associated with us as individuals. But when it comes to entities, they are same facing with a lot of risk. And they should classify, identify the risk with the best possible and adequate and effective manners. When it comes to financial risk, market risk is really big. That is related to change in the price of the financial institutions, interest rates, exchange rate, equity prices, credit risk of loss due to the unavailability of the counterparty to make promise payments. Always all lenders are suffering from this risk. They try to mitigate by employing certain effective risk management techniques. Still there is a chance for the failure of these techniques. Liquidity risk is that you don't have money, adequate position in terms of cash. Market risk, how we use the standard deviations, except excess returns or surplus volatility. We check the duration for the bonds, we check for the options, we check for the convexity or convexity of the instruments. Value at risk is there are certain models, of course, we have to study. Shortly we called as VAR, value at risk, states that there are some probabilities assigned, generally 1 to 5%, the expected loss during a specified period of time. What are the issues considerable in such situation is, first of all, the time periods, percentages, then that will affect the VAR. And we have to see the extreme values involved into. There are so many methods for computation of value at risk. We have analytical VAR method that is based on the confidence interval concept, and we subtract it with the covariance variances that is based on normal distribution and concept of one-tailed confidence intervals. It has certain advantages as analytical methods. It's easy to calculate, understand, allow modeling. The correlation of the risk can be applied to the shorter and longer time periods. Disadvantages, of course, assuming normal distribution, ignores skewness of returns, does not take into account fat tails, and difficulty of estimating standard deviation in a large portfolio. Ideal scenarios are difficult to create. Then of course we have historical VAR method, that is to calculate 5% daily VAR using the historical methods. It has almost the same advantage and disadvantages. We have Monte Carlo VAR method, that is more software, computer software to generate 100 or 1,000 possible outcomes from a distribution of inputs. It may incorporate any assumptions in terms of return patterns, correlations. It can help you analyze the complexity. It has some advantages, becoming an industry standard. Some people are really using it's aggregate all risk in one single number. It can be used in capital allocations. There are a couple of disadvantages. Some method of VAR are difficult and expensive. Different methods can result into different estimates. Like from standard deviation you get some other guidelines, from expected returns you get another guideline. So a different method of course can mislead to different scenarios. It can generate false sense of security, and it's only one-sided measure. Let's talk about stress testing. This is the test like actually we apply every day on human being. You give a bit stress to them and you get out of how they behave in a particular scenario. This is really important test, and the person who is testing should have enough capabilities, understanding to the functions and mechanisms. It is a complement of VAR. Stress testing is for the extreme scenarios. Scenario analysis we use to measure the effective portfolio for one or the several factors.